buried somewhere in a freezer. Oh my god.
Buried in a freezer?
She was taken from the morgue. She was placed in a freezer. Matthew Colby knew about this. It's been at this point. It's been what 2 to 3 weeks that I've sat on this. Like I can't take it anymore.
Matthew Colby, the one who told you about it?
What?
Matthew Colby, the one who told you that? Or was it him?
No. Matthew Colby did not tell me about this. That's all I'm gonna say.
When you spoke with Edgar yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess you spoke about the subpoena. Is that why you're...
He told me.
I figured as much. Is that why you're worried that your life is at risk?
My life is already at risk. I mean, no one can keep anything quiet in the city. If there's a subpoena, then everyone's gonna know. I mean, I don't know if it still applies to where only the things that are specific to the investigation are leaked or what, but I was like, well, I mean, but I am his DOC therapist and I know how it looks, but also I'm not licensed. So if I were a licensed therapist, this would be different. But Pixie let me know just how, how shitty I am and that I'll never be one. So thanks for that. I guess I'm just living up to that little stereotype that she has for me. Um, I guess a better therapist wouldn't be talking to you guys right now. But at the same time, like I do have a conscience.
Um, I think I think you realized the severity of everything when um how do I word this? You're not wrong. More often than not, a therapist with said information likely wouldn't come forward. But things are a little different here. Just on the basis that um, you know,
I know that he's not
things over
well
at the
also
lighthouse,
though,
things are complicated.
Yeah.
Repeat that?
And
What was that?
I know that he is not well though also. Like I said, like we have been standing in the snow with him with no shirt on and him sweating profusely and complaining about how hot he is. Like and that has gone on like multiple times. Like he's just not well. I I give him like bandages, I give him food and stuff like that, like because I do how could I like you guys know me from working at MRBD. I was always that person that was happy to help, to happy to give like food and whatever and take care of people. So
If
if I have a client in this, kind of state, how would I not also help them too? But it's just something's not right.
Okay, so again, I say this from the perspective of someone who only has the context of what you've just informed me of.
Okay.
But this is very much so giving the vibe that Edgar is sick, made a
I
decision he regrets,
I believe that,
and is
yes.
trying to right that decision
Yes.
by trying to bring someone back
Yes.
that he's responsible for being taken away.
That he realized he loved
And seemingly his time's running out.
for whatever reason. He made a deal, he said. And he has told me that he purposely tells me as little as possible to keep me alive. But still, I feel like I know too much. I need to be as anonymous as possible in this. Like, I do. Please, you have to
Uh,
understand.
no, you need to understand that again. I'm not. This is. You see this little notepad in my hand? This is the extent of it. This does not go into anywhere in the MDT
I look, I
because
know,
I
but
understand
again,
the
though, like,
downfalls, and we should have this perfect system where everything is secure and only relevant people who can be trusted. But we're human.
I was so disillusioned by the PD after Chastity. I was. And when I leaked information and left before, that was to protect someone else, another friend of mine, and myself. I did do that, and I admitted to it when I quit. So that's why I wanted to try to just be honest up front and all that. But I understand. It's complicated, I guess. I don't know. What do I do? Like, it's how can I be good to him and also like honest with what's going on? I don't know.
Being good to someone doesn't mean that you have to lie for them.
He needs help.
Best place he can get help is somewhere he can get access to therapy.
But that's why he talks to me. And I'm obviously not well equipped. I mean, if I'm like crying right here talking to you.
From what you've said, that this is the kind of man that needs more than just a couple of chats here and there.
I mean, am I okay to talk to him though going forward? If he is just talking to me, like, am I good to do that? Like, I could because again, I know that there was a phone subpoena. That's mainly my thing here. Like, he talks to me on a therapy basis. Can I please just move forward with this? Because he obviously needs to talk to someone. He is so burdened.
Why did he tell you there was a phone subpoena?
Because he wanted me to know. Because I was obviously I would be on there. He said, "Chica, you're a texter. You're you're the worst texter I know." I
Listen,
know, and
Jordan,
I'm not. Honestly, I'm
listen,
not.
in a 72-hour period,
Yeah.
Edgar de Castillo had 260 calls and 86 messages. Do you think he spoke to every single one of those people and said, "Hey, I've been subpoenaed"? I don't think so.
Then why is he trying to protect me? Because he needs his therapist.
Maybe because you know more than you're letting on to us here.
No, I went to Ruby very early on, and I shouldn't have, but I did anyway. It's just been look. I don't know more than I know. I don't.
I,
You can subpoena my own phone records
I
though.
need you to answer something then. You said
Okay.
you were meeting up with that guy after the debate?
Yes. Well, I was supposed to. He had tried to get me for 3 days, and he left me on red. He told me that it was like an emergency situation. I thought something was super bad, and then I couldn't get him.
Right. But
His time is not my time, which
you
annoys
text
me.
him that the debate is done,
Yeah, I did.
and then you didn't call him, you didn't text him, anything till an hour after,
Mhm.
saying that he owes you for the black
Yeah,
fit.
for my fit. Yeah, because he demanded that I wear. Yeah, he is such a fucker. He's like, you need to show up looking like I don't know how to dress. Really, like that just pisses me off. I'm sorry. Go ahead. He's so stupid.
And yet, just the other day, when you guys were having a meeting,
Uh
you
huh.
text him, was it 6 times before
I
you
mean,
met
I was
up?
on a date though. I was on a date though, and I did say that like I was on a, I was very mad because I was on a date, and he was like, "You need to meet me right now." Like he called me, it was a whole thing. I was so pissed, and then he wasn't even there. That's why I'm like, he's erratic. He is not okay. Also, what to be honest, like, no, I am not in love with him. The text that where he says, like, "Tell whoever that you were in love with," no, that is not true. That is him deflecting or whatever, that he's just being dumb. I am not in love with him whatsoever. I'm just his unlicensed therapist to talk to.
Right.
I know how this sounds. You don't tell me. I have a boyfriend.
Listen, you asked the
Yes.
question, should I carry on with this? And
Yes,
we didn't reach out to you here. You reached out to us because
I did.
you're scared about the situation, the information you
Yes.
know, and that your life is in danger. Does that sound like a
Mhm.
situation you want to carry on with it?
I feel like if this person does not have someone to speak to, it could be worse for everyone, for the city entirely. He trusts me to be someone that he could talk to. But I need for you to understand that I am that person. I am someone that he just talks to, that he just vents to.
Did Edgar mention Matthew Colby yesterday?
Yesterday, no. I know who that person is because I'm a DOC therapist. I know he was a lifer.
You mentioned me yesterday, though, right?
No, no, not you. He just mentioned that there was a Sabina.
That's not true. Now you're telling lies.
No, I'm trying to think. No, I don't believe that he mentioned you by name. No.
And yet, when you got in this call and we started talking, and I asked a question, you said, you already know, dog.
Yeah, because because, come on.
You're stuttering, you're lying.
You're higher than a police officer. Come on.
What did he mention about me yesterday?
He didn't mention you by name. He mentioned that there was a subpoena.
I'll say this, Jordan. If you carry on down this line, then all you're going to look like is an accomplice.
I am not. That is my point. I am not an accomplice. At the same time, I need to be honest as to how I have been brought into this or how I've been connected to this. Did you send the subpoena?
I was the one who sent the subpoena notice to Edgar. Yeah.
Because there are so he did not tell me specifically who sent it. But as far as people in your area, you are the only one that I know to actually do this. I assumed it was you, but he did not tell me it was you. And, I'm happy that you are actually doing something about something. That somebody's doing something about something. Oh my God. Nobody has talked to me about that. I'm glad it was you. I'm glad that you're doing something. Seriously. But anyway, I'm not going to say that I know that it was you or whatever, but I'm glad you're doing work. Put it that way. Be careful.
I will.
Yeah.
So, what do you do moving forward, Jordan?
Edgar did ask me what I wanted in return for being his like therapist or whatever, for helping him. And I'm gonna be honest, I'll tell you what I told him I wanted.
Can I guess?
Go ahead, guess.
I think you asked Edgar and his boys to go after the people who killed Chastity.
I did. I asked him to kill Nana Banana, and he said no. And it broke my heart. Because he can be so just on the line for this one person for him, but I don't get that for myself. They get to gloat about her death on Twitter. They get to brag about it, about how they slit her throat at a former EMS. Really? Months and months later, she died in in July. No one gives a fuck. I'm sick of carrying this. It feels like I'm the only one that gives a shit about people that die in the city, and I'm sick of it. I'm so sick of it. Rooker T that Hydra had at their fucking food stall.
Yeah. It's
I'm so sick of it.
You should be.
And
That's
people
the
wonder
reality.
why. People wonder why I ended up the way that I did. It's because of this. There is no good or bad. It's only a gray area. But honestly, even though I was the one that Edgar talked to, in the end, he helped me because he convinced me to just like try to let it go. I don't know that I ever will be able to. Chastity was, God, you guys fucked that up so bad. I gave it to you on a fucking silver platter. I did. I'm the one that told you to begin with who killed her. I'm the one that told Coyote. I did. I met him in the middle of nowhere and told him. And they took that investigation from him.
You know why?
But, but I don't know, but they gave it to Dominic Rhodes. And who had a weapon and everything, and he still fucked it up.
Which weapon?
The weapon that Nana Banana used.
It was a knife, not a gun, right?
It was a knife, yeah. She slit her throat. Surgically slit her throat. As a former EMS. You know, imagine that. And you know what? She stayed a fucking intern or hang around for months after that. Like, what does it take to get made a full member? But also, like, girl, please. Like, you have to keep bragging about it on Twitter. So many months later, get another accomplishment. I'm over it. It's so horrible. Chessie did not deserve this. She didn't even do anything wrong. It was Ben that was like being crazy on Twitter. Ben's the one that told me. I've known him for so long. Coyote would have. God. Chassie deserves so much better. It is just disgusting. Because I know right now, if someone were to kill me, nothing would happen. Absolutely nothing. And no one would remember me.
That's not true.
Come on. Who thinks about chastity this day? Just me. I know it's just me. You know,
You
when I
want
was still at C4, Sonya told me that I had clearance to go after her, and she'd back me. And it, you know, we'd go to a fucking gang war and everything for this. And I didn't want to even be in a gang to begin with, but I was like, you know what? Maybe I can do this for chastity. But I didn't. I didn't. It just sucks, you know, to be here and to see these people that you cared about, and no one remembers them. No one cares about them anymore. Time moves so fast for some people.
or in my case, for example, the conveyor belt just doesn't stop. I've explained this many times to many people, my husband included. And the unfortunate reality is oftentimes things happen. Um, we don't have the resources to allocate to it, which is terrible and should never be the case, but it is unfortunately. Has
Yeah,
been for well over a year at this point.
yeah,
Um, and unfortunately, things when people have to start cutting corners just to keep up with that conveyor belt, or at least feign a solid attempt to keep up with this conveyor belt of stuff that just never stops. Things start falling off. You can't catch them all.
the officer that took the case from Coyote and gave it to Dominic Rhodes, he was fired. He's the same officer that responded when I was the one person that shot the killer in Polito. It's just so many things. Just it's just not right, you know.
Who was it?
Nothing is. I can't remember his name, but if you look back at it, would be Clarkson. There should be a report about Clarkson harassing me. in Polito during the whole PP shooting thing. I was the one person to shoot that killer, and yeah, I had that unfortunate thing. But it's just like I really had a lot of hope in the marshals. I'll be honest. And I'm not trying to be offensive to you. I'm not. But it's just like at the end of the day, there's not going to be enough oversight ever. There's never, because there's never going to be anyone to oversee the higher, on and on and on. There's always going to be some kind of leak, some kind of just discrepancy, something. I've lost so much faith.
In people in general or the police department?
The police department. And I told Ruby, I said, this is my last ditch effort. I said, I'm going to talk to you right now. And this is the last time I ever will talk to the PD, because I even applied back to the PD though. Like they encouraged me to and all that. And I'm like, I don't know why y'all are, but I mean, I will try one last time. I truly, truly do want to help the people in the city. How can I do that when, like, I quit under circumstances that are just nothing compared to what I now know other police officers involved with?
When you say that, do you mean like it in forms of like corruption?
Yes,
Ooh.
you know that as well. I'm not gonna name
If I
names. I'm
knew
not
of
going into it.
somebody corrupt, I would certainly ensure something was done about it.
I
I can
was,
tell you
by the way,
that.
I was rated, by the way, when I quit. Did you know that? I was rated when I quit.
Why?
It's just wild to me. It's because it's like I spent so much time in shift two, being a receptionist, being the person that people knew that they could call and talk to. But anyway, that's not important right now. The thing is that my focus hasn't truly changed. I still do care about people in the city. I still really just want to help. And when I leaked information, that was to save myself and someone else. And we are alive now because of that. It was a very weird time. Like, Max made some really questionable choices there. But anyway, I shouldn't have done it. I regret it.
I don't think you really want to help people saying that there's corrupt officers out there and then not giving the names over isn't exactly adding up.
I don't have proof of their corruption, though. That's why I'm not going to name them.
That's
I would
fine.
only want to
Just
name
put
them
them
if
on
I
our
did.
radar.
Yeah, put them on my radar.
I'll tell you what. Oh, I'm really hesitant to do this. I am. I'm hesitant to do this because, if they know me, then they are not being corrupt against me,
That's not
but
what corrupt people do. They do it for their own interests.
they do, I know.
And they protect the people they care about.
Or the people that they think help them.
Exactly. Isn't the kind of thing where I'm going to go out and start asking people, hey, I spoke to Jordan Ackwood, she said this thing about you. No.
People are going to say that I am a flirt and that I talk too much.
And despite that, you have Edgar willing to explain a lot of what's happened.
He
Right?
needed someone to
So
talk to, yeah.
don't just assume that because someone may be perceived as a flirt or very talkative or anything to that extent, that the immediate assumption is going to be if an officer was named just to be put on the radar of the marshals regarding some form of corruption, that it's going to somehow make its way back to you.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Why did Arcadia Grayson get Aaliyah's house? And then get the first, like, weed clearance? Why did that happen?
You know about a dispensary?
Yes.
First time hearing of it, really. I knew she had one, but I didn't know it was the first.
If I had to guess, now I don't actually know, but are you sure it's not in a justice's name pending
No, I'm sure.
a
Yeah,
sale?
I'm telling you right now, she has Aaliyah's old house, which was full of things for this kind of thing and all that. And she got, no, just look into it, okay, Dark, please? Anonymously, can you do that for me? I need to know that this is for real.
I'll look into it.
Can you please do this without it being
I
that
don't
I told
don't
you?
need your name.
Thank
You're
you.
not involved.
She
Is there
got her
anybody else?
house. She got her house, and Aaliyah's house had a lot of weed stuff in it and all that. It never truly went to auction. And then she's got a license to, like, there's something not right here. It's not right.
So to be clear, it's in a justice's name right now, right?
Yes, yes, it
Okay.
should be.
So the reason I bring this up is because if somebody is confirmed dead,
Hmm.
that property will eventually go up for auction, but
It
not
didn't go to
auction.
auction.
Well, so here's the thing: not auction in the sense of um, just back on the market.
Hmm.
I don't know how the Department of Justice is going to be dealing with it. However,
Hmm.
um, it boils down to, obviously a dead person doesn't have rights, blah blah blah.
Right.
They won't be able to pay their,
Exactly.
their taxes and whatnot. So
Hmm.
I would say I don't know, a month or two after. However, I'm assuming the intention was that it was supposed to go up for auction similar to VAFT vehicles, where there would be a public auction held for properties, similar to that. And then highest bidder would win.
Never did that.
Now, I don't know how long ago this occurred. I don't know if it was transferred to Angel and then from Angel to somebody else. I have no idea. Um, but for example, to be very clear, VAFT vehicles get transferred to a justice's name or a judge's
Hmm.
name.
Hmm.
So yes, if you go and look at their profile, it's going to come up as them being the owner, but they're not actually the owner. It's just a holding spot essentially. So I don't know if that's what the property situation falls under, especially
Hmm.
considering you did say it was uh, Arcadia, which is a justice. So it's a possibility. Like there may not actually be anything, crazy going on with that. To be clear.
I
It-
wouldn't be surprised. I'll put it that way, though. You know, in light of things, considering that Arcadia also has property in Vespucci around BBMC property. I mean, it makes sense in when I thought about it, on the bigger picture. But yeah, it never went up for auction, and that's a major thing. And when I was talking to Nino, and he was talking to me about maybe working for him, I was like, I want to work in real estate because this is just bullshit for one thing. But this with Arcadia and Aaliyah's property, um, this is not okay. Like it's way too like coincidental. You know what I mean? That
I don't
she
know.
gets
This
this
is
weed license and Aaliyah was working in this field and she got Aaliyah's property. Come on now. And she's Chief Justice? Nuh-uh. No. No, I'm not gonna no, I'm not.
I will say the only thing I'll say, because I don't want to give any opinions on it, because I don't want to speculate. But I will say that there isn't a chief justice. There's
Okay,
just
well,
justices. Yeah, I just want to put that in.
I'm sorry. I
No,
I
no, no, no. I'm
realized I
not.
may
I
have
didn't.
spoken out of
I'm not saying it in a way that you're saying something wrong. I'm merely just saying that I'm more informing because this is commonly incorrect when people say like a chief justice. But yeah, there's no chief justice. It's just the justices really.
this is just something that how do you even document it without anyone else realizing what's going on and being able to protect your investigation though? That's why I haven't even gone to anyone before now.
We can handle that. Don't worry. You leave that to us.
Okay, well, Okay, well, look, I've been burned in the past. Can't blame me there.
No, I get it. It's a concern. It's why a lot of people don't talk to the police anyway.
I'm not trying to be a bitch about it, but it's just like, like I appreciate you right now, but in the past, like I have given information that has only gone to nothing. And Chastity is the biggest example of that. I literally gave it all for nothing. Her death just went and it's just forgotten. And it breaks my heart because she was such a good friend of mine and no one even cares. It's just a botched investigation and a botched trial for what? For like a guy that just became a cop just for him to what? Cut his teeth on? That's all she deserved? She was tied to train tracks and you guys didn't even do anything about that back then before she got this other shit. It's just ridiculous. So, I'm really trying my best here, but like I told Ruby, like this is it. This is the end. It's the last time I try.
Just a heads up, I did briefly look into the property, and from my understanding, there was a verdict rendered, a default judgment, primarily because of Aaliyah's death, that resulted in the property and the assets inside being seized, and that was done by Angel at the tail end of October. And I'm assuming once Angel resigned, it got transferred to another justice's name.
I wonder who that was.
Well, I'm going to assume
Mm,
Arcadia at some point,
mm, mm.
because actually I might be able to find out, because Arcadia has VAFT vehicles in her name.
Wow.
I'm curious to see if those occurred from a while ago.
At the very least, without all of this other back story or with all this other back, whatever, this looks bad. On a base level, this looks bad. Knowing more, this looks even worse.
I mean,
Hmm.
even if something at face value seems off, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is, right?
She's got the
The
license
ultimate,
though for weed sales and stuff like that though, too, right? But we need to add that to all this too, which is wild.
um, what license
Mm.
are we referring to specifically?
Weed sales. I mean, I get the whole real estate market in the city. I get it. I do. But it's not that. It's not just that. It's this specifically. What was specifically in this house.
Um,
And she has two properties under her name.
Are you suggesting that the assets seized from Aaliyah are now being used in the dispensary?
Yes, I do. I am saying that right now. Yep.
Pretty simple thing for us to investigate. So,
hmm.
She benefited directly from this. Yeah. That's kind of gross, but whatever.
Now, how would that actually work if the legislation related stuff is specific to Los Santos County, but the property is up north?
I mean, that's for you to just figure out. Well, actually, that's for Richard to figure out, right?
I just think it's unlikely. Is that a residential property?
Yes, it should be because I lived there previously, and not that specific property, but I did live on the same street in Polito. You know that Kenny and I lived across the street from
Mm-hmm.
you.
yeah, it's residential. I was there when it got raided, so I saw everything.
I mean, let me just verify if yeah, the only thing registered in Brittany Angel's name is a couple vehicles, which leads me to believe if Angel was in possession of anything at the time of her resignation, she transferred it all off.
To Arcadia. I think that it's
Well,
Arcadia.
I don't know if it would have been to Arcadia. Uh, if y'all want to chat, just give me 2 minutes because there's 2 plates I can look up and see whether or
No,
not
that's
there's
fine.
any reference to a specific judge taking them.
But this really is my last ditch effort here. Like, I cannot, like, I'm gonna end up dead. Seriously, like, I can't keep doing this. I'm gonna end up dead. It's just odd that she ends up with Aaliyah's house that has all of that weed stuff in it, and then she gets a weed license. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, we'll investigate it. It's my job at the end of the day.
I don't know. Just
And
I shouldn't even talk
who
about that.
exactly is this complaint coming from? Is it you or is it Edgar?
Right now, it's for me because once again, the real estate in the city is a shit show. But
Agreed.
also, if this is from someone, if she's getting this property from someone that passed, and she's also getting the assets involved in the property, and now she also has a weed license, like that is a major. Like, come on, is that not a red flag? Am I stupid? I
It's
mean,
a
I saw a
flag.
ghost. I know I'm crazy, but
It's a
that's a
flag.
flag. Thank you. Look, I was Murphy's assistant for months and months. Judges are not, just infallible.
I'm well
Uh,
aware. Believe me.
yeah. So I mean, no one should just think that Arcadia is beyond reproach. Okay, this is it's too many coincidences. This I'm not an investigator, and I know that people have reason to question me, but this is weird.
Okay, but Jordan, you did mention police officers, and I don't know that you've brought up a single name, but you did bring up a judge.
I'm not gonna name up police officers because I'm more likely to encounter them than a judge. Let's be real.
And again, this would do nothing more than put them on a radar. No paperwork, no documentation, no nothing.
And I'll make the same argument I made to somebody else. You're worried about, you have knowledge that cops could be corrupt. And, like you said, they might not come after you. But what about if they do one day? What about if they're trying to work with somebody and someone accidentally puts your name in a report and they
Oh,
leak
it
your
will
name to
happen.
somebody?
Yeah.
Those
Oh
are the
yeah,
kind of
it's
people
gonna
you
happen.
don't want
Absolutely.
in PD. Because the good ones, like me and Roach here, we ain't going to leak nothing. It's the people that you're on about that are going to be leaking. Or going after you for some selfish reason.
How did you guys hire? And can I rant about this for just one moment, please? How did you guys Bobby Charles and Carmine? Are you kidding me? Do you know what kind of life they put me through when I was in reception? Even do you know what they did to me when I was even off duty? How could you hire them? And then the whole Dogtown thing, and you guys still like kept them on duty and all that. Like, what the fuck?
Okay. Jordan, I understand your frustration, but I need you to understand that hiring decisions are beyond Richard's control, beyond my control.
No, but
I've
they still.
I
I was told that
and
Bobby
I
Charles had
understand
someone down.
I
And
understand, Jordan, but you need to understand that you are painting us all as
listen,
one whole collective, and that's simply not the case. For the same
do you know?
reason you
No,
can identify people who are corrupt and feel content speaking with Richard and I and likely trusting that we're not,
I was
I
told
need
that
you to
Bobby
understand that
held
we had
someone down.
no control over hiring.
Okay, okay, okay. But Bobby Charles, I was told, held someone down at the labs for them to be tested on. Bobby Charles did that while a cop. Like, I don't doubt that whatsoever. Like, to be tested on. And like at the labs, yeah. I mean, of all people to do that, that makes sense. It would be him, I guess. And you got Carmine doing whatever. It's just like I don't. Like, what do you guys want from me? Like, to name all these names of people that I know have done craziness? That would be a nonstop funnel from me, and it's going to get me killed. I have to be careful at some point in time, right? Or else you have no one to tell you anything.
I agree. You do have to be careful. However,
He held her down, and she was tested on. It's insane. It was
I
Margot Escargot.
I don't know exactly what the situation is referencing.
It doesn't
But
matter. It's just
what the point I'm trying to make here, Jordan, is that if you aren't willing to state the names, then I need you to understand that we don't know what we don't know. We can't
I know that.
we
I
can't
know.
even get a uh, a whiff of maybe something's wrong with this person if we don't know that anything had ever happened. If the original person didn't complain, if that person told somebody else and that person's unwilling to tell the police.
Because they know not to. Because what's gonna happen? I sold
They're
them a
about chatting to
lie when I
Pete.
was reception for like 6+ months. I did that. The PD was gonna help them. I did that. I did that. I sold them that lie. I don't blame them. It sucks. And how do I trust you guys at this point in time? Because you didn't help the people that I need you to help. You can't even help the people that work for you. Look at Rucker. Look at Aziz. Look at Chastity. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. And you can't see, like, it hurts so
I mean,
much.
I can demonstrate why that's happening. Look to your left. You see the two of us?
It's exactly like,
We're the
because you
only
can,
two law enforcement officers.
yeah, I know. It's usually just Maple.
Mm-hmm. And so just for context here, let's assume a murder happened directly in front of Maple.
Yeah.
Someone was shot at gunpoint. And let's say there's 4 individuals there. As much as Maple wants to step out of that car and gun those people down for murdering someone,
Yeah.
guess what?
He can't.
Because if he does, he'll be the
He's dead.
next one.
Yep. And I had a marshal trying to like chat me up, and I got kidnapped right in front of his fucking face. And my gun was stolen and all that, and I was so pissed. And I realized then there's no hope. There's no hope for me.
It's not that there's no hope. It's the unfortunate reality is that um, we do nothing but sort of poke the hornet's nest if we do cause any sort of additional resistance
And that's why I
versus
haven't said anything before now. Because I mean, what good is it gonna do? It's gonna make things worse.
um to an extent I can see where you're coming from, but also again, sometimes we just don't know that certain people are problematic because they've never had a conversation with anybody else in the police department that would
Mm,
be like, okay, that's a bit of a red flag. So
yeah.
the reason I bring that up is because again, even if we're just told names, right, and we start looking at a person just a little more closely than we did before,
Yeah.
um, we can likely start picking up on some of those, those strange behaviors or whatever it is, without bringing anybody else up as like, let's say you told us somebody was purchasing firearms from the armory
Mm,
and giving them away,
okay.
or selling them on the street, right?
Yeah.
At first glance, none of us are going to have a clue. But if that is brought up and coincidentally, uh, I don't know, let's say the police officer, sometime that week is then reporting that their firearm was stolen. And then we now start looking into all of their stolen firearms and stuff like that. And it's suddenly every few days this is happening.
Every 10, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. At
Hmm.
that point,
I'm with
we
you.
can establish, okay, this is really suspicious.
Right.
But again, we would have had a reason to look if it wasn't brought up prior to.
Right. And that's another reason why I'm like, every time I issue a weapons license, I'm like, take your ID down. You have got to report it ASAP.
Yep.
Like, do not leave any room for question here. And I've had mine. mine taken, like I said, just in front of a marshal though, which was very annoying, you know. But because I even said like, please, this guy's gonna take me hostage, and it happened. Um, look, I regardless of what has happened in my past and how you guys may feel about me, question me, whatever, I do care to a fault and in my stupid ways. I do. I really do. I But at this point in time, what I saw to be the right thing to do when I first arrived here isn't maybe not the right thing to do now. And it just sucks, you know? Because you have to try to keep yourself safe in order to try to give information when it's the right time or finding who you can trust or it's really hard right now. Anyway,
No.
I'm going to still
Those
be his therapist, okay? Because he does need someone to talk to and he's not well.
I've got one last question.
Okay.
Did he only start getting sick after that deal?
I don't know, but I would assume so because I I'm going to assume so. He told me to not make a deal because I was going to make a deal for Chastity because you guys failed her so hard. Like it kills me. It's gotten me killed almost. I've been asked. No, actually, people were asked like what I wore and stuff, so the ADMC could come after me to shut me up. Sh- me bitching about her death. Like it's just, I would do anything to avenge her at this point in time. I would make a deal, absolutely, and he told me not to because I would suffer, and
Edgar
I feel
told you
like
not
that's it.
to?
Yes,
Ironic. You're telling him, or at least you believe he shouldn't, and then he's telling you you shouldn't.
he. I know.
I know there's a
What's
difference, to
weird
be
about
clear,
this?
because in your
Yeah,
case, you feel someone was done wrong. Understandable.
I mean, he shot her. It's his fault that she ended up
He
dead to
made
begin
that
with.
choice.
Yeah, exactly.
I, I understand. Um, but whatever you do not make a deal.
No, I said I wouldn't go back. The only thing I did was leave a note begging for death to not bring Aaliyah back because she deserved to be at peace. And it's his fault that she ended up dead to begin with. And it's just his own guilt that's doing this. Because you don't know the person that will return. Like, how dare you? Maybe don't kill her to begin with, motherfucker. I'm sorry. Forgive me. It upset me.
You're not wrong. People
It's,
change.
it's not that
And if
hard.
something as crazy as that happens, you never truly know if you're going to be dealing with the same person.
Yes. That's why I'm like, and he's like, all mad at me for saying that. And I'm like, no, you. He's like, how do you know? I'm like, how do you not know? I mean, come on. She's been dead how long? Which, even if she hadn't been, it doesn't matter. Like, you made this choice. You shot her. You put her in the ground. You feel bad for your own actions. Come to terms with that. Don't drag her from death. Sorry. If my name is on any of this, I'm dead. I'm telling you right now. I'm serious.
Jordan, there's nothing. There is nothing.
How do I deal with this though? You know, I mean, like, I don't agree with this. Like, I mean, this is not of this world. This is not okay. I saw a ghost from 7 months ago.
Jordan, I got a question.
Yeah, yeah.
What makes Edgar so different from Nana?
Nana did it for clout. Fuck her for that. And she brags about it to this day on Twitter. Fuck her. I'll get her one day. I'm sorry, but I will. She was a hang around for months and months after the fact. What did it get her?
They're both
What did
murderers.
it get her to get chastity?
So, in the day, there's no real difference, no matter what the reason.
No, there is. There is a difference. Nana did it because she wanted to be included in this gang. That's all that was. I told Sean, though, I was like, "Can you just keep her from spouting off on Twitter about it, please? Can you just keep her from gloating about it? It's been so many months, and she still talks about it to this day. Like, you're better than that." And he was like, "No, Jordan, we're not." Well, there you go. I guess you're not. And he said he wanted to talk to me after the fact, so I called Flop, and no, I never heard from Sean again. Which is fine. They live next door to me in Polito. I'll get her eventually, though. I'm sorry, but I will. One way or another. That's not okay. You guys fucking screwed that up so bad. It kills me. The actual weapon. I don't know. I need to let it go. I know I do.
What screwed it up was officers getting emotionally invested. And I'll tell you that if you keep down this road being so emotionally invested, it's not going to go well.
Yeah, it hasn't done any well for me at all, has it? To actually give a shit. All I see is like coworkers and friends dead, and no one cares about them. And their deaths are just what we have. We have food items named after them. We have people just twatting 7 months later about them. It's just stupid.
Jordan, I'm gonna cut this short.
Yeah.
Because there are other officers on duty, and we're again just gonna pretend this never happened. So. If there's anything else you need, please ask. If you ever call, just know that I want to meet you somewhere before we actually go to where we're going to discuss things.
Thank you.
You stay safe, Jordan.
I'm still gonna provide the services I've been providing, so to speak. Okay. Thank you.
I feel like I have a decent read of your read of her.
What's that?
You don't trust her because you called her out several times throughout that conversation, seemingly having more information than she may believe you have. I'm going to assume on that basis alone, you may have taken a lot of what she said as a, I don't know if I trust you type deal.
I think we got a lot of crocodile tears, and I think she was interrogating us as much as I was interrogating her. She spoke to Edgar. I trust her on that, and he told her about the subpoena. And I think she's running to us to make sure we don't go after her too.
So that she can just
I think she's
have a story.
Yeah. She's trying to get ahead of it.
Painting her defense.
Exactly. She's trying to
She said that at the beginning.
give us a narrative.
Trying to get ahead of it. Word for word, that is what she said.
Yeah. This goes far beyond just a patient-client relationship. Especially when she said, and I assumed she would, asking Edgar to go and kill the people that killed Chastity. This isn't a professional relationship. They're working together. That's not to say I don't believe her on some of the things she's told us. I think she is in a rough spot, and I believe her about the things she's told us about Edgar. But I think it's one of these things where she's probably in too deep, and now she doesn't know how to get out of it, and she's trying to cover her ass.
Let me ask you this. I know she said she was on a date or something.
Mm-hmm.
But was I the only one getting the vibe that she's in love? Because multiple times it was mentioned throughout that situation where she keeps bringing up that he's sick. Right now, this was before any of the lighthouse stuff. And I was like, okay, all right. And then the mention of specifically going out of her way to leave notes to ensure that Aaliyah is not brought back. And I'm thinking to myself, it's sort of out of your control, but it is what it is. And then when the phone subpoena was brought up, she brought up something regarding some of the text messages where I believe he said something that would imply some kind of relationship, but then immediately after said, I was on a date. And then, I don't know if you noticed this, um, but while we were talking, she said, um, she almost sounded jealous or like
About Aaliyah.
bothered. Yes, but how she was pretty much Donowalled for a period of time in which he didn't respond to her at all, and she sounded
Mm-hmm.
upset, actually like annoyed and bothered. Um, which is then leading me to believe, again, especially considering she said he loved her.
Right. Yeah, I caught that.
Is this because, does she want to be with Edgar? And the reason she doesn't want Aaliyah back is because then who would she have? Alternatively, let's say a deal was made. Hypothetical. Big hypothetical. He's sick. We very likely know why. I'm a betting man. If he follows through with the deal, he's the trade.
It might come to that. I don't think it's come to that yet. Because there have been probably close to a dozen, if not more, shootings at the lighthouse. If I was to guess about the ones we haven't heard about either. At least 2 of those are murders. And I haven't heard of Aaliyah Court walking around since those have happened. So if he gets desperate, you might be right.
I'm just saying from her perspective, she loses no matter what. Edgar is going to get himself killed trying to make a deal. Even if he's successful, something happens with Aaliyah, shows up. Edgar's not going to be around for very long. And if she is in love, he's gone. And the one thing that she harped on continuously is people dying and being forgotten about.